Well, I don't know if we really discuss this, but bugger it. We're going to do it anyway. You know that I hate saying I told you so, and I know that you hate saying it. But what was one of the things that we said about 3Waters?
Yeah, 100%. That what's happening is the mayors that are all turning their citizen, their ratepayers against it, were leaving off half the sentence, which is, let's say no to it, but by the way, your rates will go up exponentially. They left that second part of the sentence off. They didn't actually give their ratepayers, their voters, all the information they needed to actually make an informed decision. That's what we were saying, Chewy. Well, have you got some news?
Yeah. Oh, just what we have on screen. The very town that we were talking about, that Gore was going to be absolutely screwed over if 3Waters didn't go ahead. And there we go. They need $465 million of capital investment in their water infrastructure. And if this doesn't go ahead, then that's going to be pushed onto their ratepayers or ignored, and it will fail.
Okay, I'm just Googling how many ratepayers in Gore. The Gore District Council has a total of 6,032 rating units. Does that mean how many ratepayers there are?
I would imagine so.
So divide 465 million by 6,000. I'm scared to do that. What will that come out as?
The figure that was considered the minimum and would cause the average annual water services bill in the district to rise from $1,340 to $6,770 by 2051.
I'm assuming that's for 10 years because that's $68,000 per ratepayer. So that'll be for 10 years. That's what it'll go up to.
And that's if nothing else goes wrong, right?
Yeah,
so but everything is the same.
And this is the thing. Like we're in Dunedin, right? Gore's our neighbour, and actually Dunedin pipes are doing pretty well, because the councils here have stayed somewhat on top of them. But Gore's our neighbour, so if their pipes fuck up and are say filled with salmon, the water doesn't just stop at the boundary where their region meets ours. So it's not just all about. This is why we're only as strong as their weakest link. So, Southland will be impacted by Gore, Queenstown will be impacted by Gore, Dunedin will be impacted by Gore, and that's why a overall approach was the better way to go. But of course, some people got involved and said bloody Maori a few times, and then it became an issue, which it never should have been, ever. So.
Oh, look at that. Council rate hikes a mature approach to help pay for the billions needed in infrastructure. Fuck's sake. So every time you see someone in your local area kick off about rates going up, you can go, are you part of the rates association or something that has been keeping rates low artificially by putting off these things for decades?
Yep.
Uppercut yourself to sleep. You've kicked the can down to me.
Yeah,
that's in Wellington because their pipes keep exploding.
And the thing about it is it's I would consider this to be a national disaster. And when Christchurch happened, the whole country paid for that, got behind it, and paid for that. I remember a conversation with the mayor of Rangiora, who was very anti 3Waters until we did the research and realized the reason he's got new pipes and doesn't need to do it is because of the earthquake that we all funded that gave him new pipes. When Auckland had the cyclone, we all pay for that. And this idea of, fuck them, it's not our problem, it's their problem, is just, it's not how we do things that are national disasters. The pipes in Havelock North killed people. It's a national disaster.
They could have had that in Queenstown.
True.
The tourism hotspot of New Zealand, just as tourists come back, and then this jewel in our tourism crown is telling everybody to boil water or you could get sick and die. Not really a great look. And like a strategic, like that's a local council sort of going, well, we don't have enough money to do this antiviral thing, antibacterial thing in our water supply. But Queenstown's so important to our infrastructure. That's a national level fail, really. 100%. And like we talk about Christchurch went from having some of the best tap water in the world to having their
I remember
fucked off.
traveling to Christchurch from Timaru and bringing water home. It was so good. I remember those days after I played on the escalators. Is that right? Have I got it right?
Actually, yeah, I don't think I mentioned the escalator, but that's kind of creepy. Yeah, so I mean, this is the whole thing. It's like that wrecked their water infrastructure, and yes, it's all been repaired, but the Christchurch is still chlorinating their water. That's how far it's fallen for them. So yeah, this kicking the can down the road of like, oh, we can't spend money on pipes because pipes aren't sexy. Pipes are they're the sexiest thing ever as far as I'm concerned. Water is going to be so important in the coming years.
Yeah.
And I worry that a government and the we don't want to put rates up and we're just going on vibes and climate change doesn't exist. They're dooming us to some pretty unpalatable future.
Yeah. Figuratively and literally.
They'll be dead by the time we get there, so who cares?
Yeah, but the other thing is how much of it is up to us, because if a mayoralty or a mayoralty candidate came along and said, guys, I'm real sorry, but your rates are going up, they have to, because this hasn't been addressed for the past 80 years. Would they even get close to getting in? So how much of this is on the voters? I mean, look at what's happening with National at the moment. Now, I've done a bit of thinking since talking to Kieran last night. You said you watched the interview, eh? Did you say that?
Mm. Yeah.
And him saying, and I've noticed it today, all of this National fingering Labour, pardon the
I
visual.
don't like that, Pat. I don't like that.
Because Kieran's accusation is it's not because Labour left the cupboard bare, it's because the promises that National have had to give to ACT and New Zealand First, they don't have the budget for going forward. So they have to make an excuse that there's nothing there now because they can't actually pay for what they're going to do moving forward. It's just this whole kind of 3Waters paying for things. It's all sort of, the government didn't say, guys, it's going to be really tight. They said tax cuts. They said, $250 a fortnight to your average family. They said all these things about give. And it's, if you got to pull your belt in because finances are tight, you got to do it even if it's a hard message to tell people. But would that get people elected? So that's what I'm saying, Joe. How much of it is on us? How much of that is on us?
Yeah. I mean, I can speak for myself that whenever someone says lower rates and tax cuts and that sort of thing, I immediately get my back up and going, yeah, but what's that going to cost me?
Yeah, of course.
And I know not everybody thinks that way, but the lessons need to be learned. And I think we're probably learning them live at this point.